Hey everybody, I'm Rutledge and good evening, and this is Friend Stream Sports. Took a little bit of a break there for a holly jolly happy holiday season. I hope you had a Merry Christmas, and if you're celebrating Kwanzaa, I hope you having a good Kwanzaa, and if you celebrated Hanukkah, I hope you had a great Hanukkah. But now we're back, we're here on the gridiron. It's the bowl picking show, and before I kind of dive into this evening, I want to take a moment to acknowledge the big news that is sad as we advertise it here on the screen. This show could not have been possible because of a man named John Madden. John Madden was many things. He was the coach of the Oakland Raiders. He was a fantastic sports announcer. He also gave birth to and brought this video game to life. And without John Madden, you know, we wouldn't have what we have. I wouldn't be able to have this show and be able to come out and talk to y'all and talk about sports and be live and do all the things that we get to do. So, rest in peace, John Madden. If you ever look for some good John Madden moments, there's some great moments to see out there when he was broadcasting Monday Night Football. Monday Night Football is very special to me as I was born on a Monday night during Monday Night Football. But even more, comedian Frank Caliendo does a fantastic impression of John Madden. I'm sure Frank Caliendo will be available somewhere doing his Madden impression. But we're going to dive in. Tonight is our bowl picking show. Steven the Steady is already here. What's going on, Steven? We're here, Friend Stream Sports, Tuesday, 8 o'clock. If you're watching us, make sure to follow us on Twitch and make sure to also subscribe to us on YouTube. But we're going to dive in tonight, and I'm going to play a new mode that I found in Madden. Wait, why are you starting like this? This should do what I think it's going to do. Go in there. This should be the mode that I'm thinking it's going to be. I discovered this one morning when I woke up at 6 a.m., just turned on the PlayStation, then went back to bed. So hopefully this boots up the way I want it to. Yes. So if you haven't done this, this is super fun. This is a mode called Superstar KO where you get to play as college football teams. Of course, it's NFL-based rules, but you play as college football teams stacked up with some of the best players that go to those colleges. So I am hyped tonight because that means that we get to throw on some college unis and we get to hit the gridiron. I'm thinking I've played as a lot of these different ones. Tonight, I'm going to go with the Florida Gators. So we're going to be the Florida Gators and get after it. What's cool about this is Gators from all over time in the NFL. So we'll see who our quarterback is. Steven, any guesses who you think the Gator quarterback would be in Madden? But with what we have, we're going to do a balanced playbook. You get to pick your playbook. And offensively, I'm thinking defensively we got to do a multiple. We got to actually stick with the cover 2. It's a lot of 4-3, some 4-6, a bunch of nickel and dime stuff to cover the pass plays, but let's get after it. So we're going to boot it up. We're going to see who we're going to play online, and then hit the theme of tonight's show. So tonight's show is all about bowl picking. So basically the way that tonight's show is going to go is going to go through all the bowl games that are going to happen. There are, I believe, 41 bowl games this season. Some of them have been canceled. Some have not. Some have been played. We're playing against Clemson. I have won 11 picks. Personal moment of pride, I did pick UCF to beat Florida, so that was great. I was very surprised that University of Texas San Antonio, who had a fantastic season, only one loss, lost their bowl game. Liberty won, which is by no surprise. Coastal Carolina won, but you had Louisville let me down. They lost to Air Force. And tonight I picked Mississippi State, which they are playing in the AutoZone Liberty Bowl. They are playing against Texas Tech. Currently, right now, Texas Tech is beating Mississippi State 10-7. So we're hoping to see that score sort of bound and rebound. But like I said, I've got Mississippi State picked. The other game tonight, one of them, the San Diego Poinsettia Credit Union. The San Diego Credit Union. Oh, we're going to take this back. Go. Got Percy Huffin broken free. Bad coverage. Oh, we glitched out a little bit and ran out of bounds. But that was awesome. We totally made that happen. No, Spurrier is not the quarterback in this, Steven, but good guess. Percy Harvin took that kick way back, but that is probably the furthest I've kicked it back. Don't like how we're having a little bit of lag here this evening. But looks like our quarterback is the one and the only Tim Tebow. Let's get that block. Didn't get that block. All right. So we're playing Florida versus Clemson here on Madden 22, the College Football Championship. Telling me to punt on 2nd and 11, which we're not going to do. We're going to put Tim Tebow in the shotgun, and we're going to see how this goes. But we're picking bowl games. So one game that is happening is the Guaranteed Rate Bowl. The Guaranteed Rate Bowl is going to take place between Minnesota and West Virginia, with Minnesota with the 3.5 favorite. I picked Minnesota. I think this is going to be a great game for PJ Fleck and company to row the boat and to make sort of an impact, have a good bowl game victory, and go into next season. West Virginia, if you can beat them, is still a considerable good out for bowl season, so that'll be big. The Wasabi Fenway Bowl, which is supposed to be tomorrow, which is SMU versus UVA. That game was canceled, so we will not see that game happen. There we go. Big first down by the Gators. The next game I do have on, which is in New York City, which is the New Era Pinstripe Bowl. This is Maryland versus Virginia Tech. Now, when I pulled these, I saw that Maryland actually had a better season than we normally think the Terrapins do. They did better than we thought they would. You know, they're bowl eligible. They're hanging in there. They're 1 point against Virginia Tech, which is not the powerhouse we're used to. So I actually went with Maryland in this. I stayed with the pick and the favorites. Those 1 point games, though, are always so hard to pick because you never know who's going to come out there and who's going to be victorious. Next up in our bowl game list, hold on, I want to try to nail down this touchdown here. Oh no, threw it into triple coverage and threw my first pick of the evening. Oh, I thought I had it. Oof, that is not Dabo Swinney, we'll say that much. That one stings. After that great kick return, I threw a pick in the end zone. Clemson has the ball on their own 16-yard line. Get him. But I get the ball right back. Fantastic Gator pick. Let's get a couple blocks. Run this in. Chomp, chomp. Gator touchdown off the interception. Fantastic. We're on the board. 6-0 here in the College Football Championship on FriendStream Sports. Playing as the Florida Gators versus the Clemson Tigers. All right, so back to the picks. New Era Pinstripe Bowl. I went with Maryland. These 1 point games are always tough to pick. You don't know which direction to go, so definitely went with the Terrapins. Would love to see them win. Virginia Tech, like I said, that's not the glorious victory that it used to be, but hey, when you're moving in the right direction, especially Maryland was having a tough time for a while getting adjusted in the Big Ten. So good on to see Maryland out there. By the way, for anyone watching the show live, if you're watching us on Twitch, please make sure to drop your bowl picks for games in the comments. I'd love to hear what else you're looking at. Next we have the Cheez It Bowl, which is going to be the team I'm actually playing against, which is the Clemson Tigers, versus Iowa State. Iowa State is only a 1.5 point favorite, and I feel like that is doing a disservice to them. We have seen very much this year that Trevor Lawrence, who's actually starting right now for the Tigers, he was a big piece to that Clemson offense, and he made that machine go. And even though Dabo Swinney likes to say that we're too deep, did not really see a lot of depth out of the Tigers this year. They weren't able to be as strong as we thought they would, as you know, they're playing in a mid-tier bowl game before New Year's Eve. Didn't make their conference championship, so I am going to go with Iowa State, which I believe the bill is coming due for Iowa State. They're going to get their day. They're going to pay. They're going to get paid at some point. They thought this was going to be a bigger year for them. They did have some great rankings, but they just can't seem to surface out of the Big 12. Clemson, of course, is going. Clemson is getting picked by Steven as Clemson runs their fullback against us. That was a horrible decision. So, Steven, you're going to go Clemson. I mean, maybe they'll coach him up and go from there. Now, we're going to get into the part of college football bowl weekend where I believe is where this is where bowl games, this is where you start to get, okay, now it gets serious as we get that is a heave-ho for the end zone straight into, all right, dropped it. I was really worried they came down with that one. I wouldn't have covered it. It's a 3rd and 9. It looks like Etienne in the backfield. And Trevor Lawrence has got some room to run. But the Gators get the stop, knock him down before he gets to the first down marker. Let's see if they punt. No one in online Madden ever punts. Are they going to punt? Well, it says they're going to suggested punt, but like I said, no one in Madden ever punts. All right, let's get this stop. Let's get the ball back, and let's continue down these picks because we still have to talk about the Valero Alamo Bowl. The Valero Alamo Bowl is going to be Oregon versus Oklahoma. This is the first of the bowl games of the bowl season to where every single year this happens. You go along through the entire bowl season, through the entire regular season. There are two teams that were forecasted to be huge. They both don't rise to the occasion. Remember, Oregon and Oklahoma were both very highly revered this season to do well. Neither of them finished very well. And now they're playing in this before New Year's Eve bowl game because that's just sort of where they slotted out. Oklahoma is a 4.5-point favorite, but there has been a lot of great action done by Oregon this year, so I am definitely not going with Oklahoma. The transfer of Spencer Rattler, Lincoln Riley leaving to go to USC felt like a very unnecessary move when he said, I will not be the next coach of LSU. That is correct, because he will be the next coach of the University of Southern California. Now, I will say the University of Southern California is probably one of the best jobs to get as a college football coach. Tebow breaking off the run. So I don't blame him for going over there. However, you're a little broken there on the Oklahoma sideline. Your depth chart's a little messed up, so I'm going to go Oregon. I think the Ducks are going to come to town, and they're going to make a big splash in what would be a marginally unimportant bowl win for such a historic program. Oregon going through, yeah, that's true. Oregon is going through a coaching change. I'm still sticking with them, even though Steven is picking Oklahoma. I remember those rumors that Manny Diaz was getting ready to roll. So the fluidity of, oh, that's a great spin. And Pitts, who is a top 4 draft pick, runs it in, proves his wealth. Gators on the board again. We're 13-0, and we're kicking fantastic. Let's see if we can kick fantastic again. All right, so Steven's taking Oklahoma. I'm taking Oregon. We are 14-0. Gators are dominating this national championship game as we're making some bowl picks. Next bowl is a personal one to my heart as a fan, as this is the Duke's Mayo Bowl, which is going to be played up in Charlotte, North Carolina. It is the University of North Carolina Tar Heels versus the University of South Carolina Gamecocks. I think this is how a bowl game should be made. You should have a bowl game situation to where two teams get together and they're in a neutral site, kind of like a Georgia-Florida field. This is USC, South Carolina. Charlotte's basically on the border of the two states. You know, it's easy for the fan base to travel. You are able to see a good game. You're able to go to a new city. I think this is this is one of the beauties of what college football bowls are supposed to be about. That and Duke's Mayonnaise is a great sponsor. I feel like Duke's, we have 4 quarters open for sponsorship without the very, very favored and loved halftime hot takes by our friends at Daddle's Coffee. Please call me. Love to have you on the show. That being said, you have, oh, come on, get this pick. Clemson comes down and goes out of bounds with a long pass all the way down to Hopkins. As the Tigers offense is really heating up here, trying to get on the board before they get shut out in the half as we hit the 2-minute warning, or at least a timeout. As we're here on French Stream Sports. Okay, so I was talking about the Duke's Mayo's Bowl. Fantastic bowl game. North Carolina is an 8.5-point favorite. North Carolina was my dark horse for the year, of the ACC team that I really thought would rise up. Oh, Trevor Etienne is not covered at all, gets a first down. North Carolina was the team I thought would rise up and make a difference, and they did not. They really sort of fell flat. They're still an 8.5-point favorite against Shane Beamer's first year at the University of South Carolina. I'm taking South Carolina as I'm a homer in this situation. I believe in the Gamecocks and what they're doing. Gators just absolutely let that touchdown waltz its way in. That's almost a 2-score underdog though, and I believe that line moved a little bit today. Moving along on the 30th, so coming along, there's the TransPerfect Music City Bowl, which features Tennessee and Purdue. Purdue was the team you didn't want to play this year, as they had some monster wins with some great upsets. They didn't upset everybody, but they did notch in some big wins this year. So I'm going to stick with Purdue and thinking they're going to bring some bowl hardware back with them. I agree with what Steven said about the Duke's Mayo Bowl. It really is a coin flip to see what you're going to do between North Carolina and South Carolina. Steven, do you have Tennessee or do you have Purdue? You're going the Purdue train as well. Ha! He's going to boil her up and ride the train. So next we want to finish out these 2 games before we go to half, before we get to New Year's Eve. The Chick-fil-A Peach Bowl, which is Pitt versus Michigan State. Good for Michigan State to be making a bowl game. Big on Pitt, the wild year they had. Of course, their quarterback changed the landscaping of the quarterback slide rule with how he did a fake slide, which caused a massive gain for him. So, be famous for something is what I always believe. Do something to be famous for, just as long as it's not embarrassing. So with that, I'm actually going to stick with Pitt. A 1.5-point game is really tough to call for the Peach Bowl. So I think this one's going to be a treat. This one's going to be a great time. Don't drop that guy. Running back move, you're no help. Tim Tebow is just tearing it up tonight on the rushing front. So I'm going to go with Pitt in that game coming up. We have 50 seconds remaining here. 2 timeouts, 14-7, going into halftime, 1st and 10. Not even on the right side of the 50, and the opponent looks like he's bringing the blitz against my left-handed quarterback. Okay. No, we're going to use another timeout. All right. Got to remember. So, big up there for Pitt. Sparty could take it, and that's where Steven's pick is taken, but I'm sticking with Pitt. I believe in Pitt's going to sum up their great season with a victory in Atlanta to close out the year. Last December 30th one we have is the SRS Distribution Las Vegas Bowl, which features Wisconsin versus Arizona State. This is, of course, going to be in Vegas at that fantastic stadium that they have. Beautiful facility. Really want to go with that. You're going to have Wisconsin, Arizona State. I can never say no to Wisconsin. I'm a huge fan of the state of Wisconsin. I believe the Badgers always know how to figure it out in big games. Arizona State is trying to make it happen. Good for them to making a bowl game and making moves in the right direction. Herm Edwards, of course, still at the helm. But I am going on Wisconsin here for a whole bunch of Badgers to really have a good time. I want to say, if you want to have a good time in Vegas, go to Vegas with people from Wisconsin. They are just a great times of people. Tim Tebow goes in with the touchdown, runs it straight in. 20 points up on the board on the first half. Clemson's only got up 7. This includes 1 defensive touchdown, 2 offensive touchdowns. Tim Tebow's having a career-like normal championship games. We get ready to kick. Oh, bad kick. Bad kick. Got cocky. French Stream Sports always humbled by the kick. So Steven's going Wisconsin as well. So to review, as we're going to do this kickoff here, I'm taking of all the games. Of course, tonight I had Mississippi State, taking Minnesota, Maryland, Iowa State, Oregon, South Carolina, Purdue, Pitt, Wisconsin, and that will lead us all the way up until New Year's Eve, which we will review after the second half. But we got to get there. So first we got to shut down DeAndre Hopkins, who wants to run this back. Of course, we will also at halftime have a great score review of the current score for the Texas Tech versus Mississippi State game. I am hoping that I am on the right side of that game in what I have picked. We're going to see if we can get some defensive stops so we can get into the half. Clemson is heaving it. Trevor Lawrence whips it out there, but Florida's able to bobble it out of the hands. Ball hits the ground. 20 seconds to go. We're going to bring a little bit of pressure. We're going to do a zone 3 blitz with a little bit of pressure on the outside from him. Bring a cornerback in. Bring some speed. Oh! Perfectly timed user pick. Those always make you feel good when you get those. Shut him down. Second pick of the game. It is now 20-7. Gators have the ball, getting ready to go into halftime. I got a great receiving core. Our receiving core is Percy Harvin and Kyle Pitts. Oh, breaks the run. Oh, he trips under his own feet. Gonna use my last timeout and kick this field goal. All right, so as we've gone, Gators got the ball back. Interception ran through. My running back tripped over his own feet. A 45-yard field goal attempt with 9 seconds to go in the half. We're going to take the points and get ourselves up there because this is the College Football National Championship game. That's a rough-looking kick, but we missed it. So it's still 20-7 with 5 seconds to go. Probably shouldn't have kicked that kick so soon. Let the clock run down a little more. This is what you live and learn in coaching. It's okay to make mistakes. It's a video game. Trevor Lawrence is adjusting the play. Ball gets hiked. Coverage is holding. Gators go back. Just loves to chuck it up to DeAndre Hopkins. All right, so we're getting ready to go into halftime. Steven, you're out there. Would you have gone for that kick, or would you have tried to run another play after that? What would you have done in that situation? We always like to talk coaching. Would you have gone for it, or would you have tried to go for the touchdown with 9 seconds left on the board in the second half and 1 timeout? Love to know your opinion. All right, kicks the ball. End zone. This is going to be tricky because I'm playing online. You take the points, so you kick it just like I did. All right, so I'm not going to leave the match. We're going to have to do halftime hot takes a little bit live. So this week's halftime hot take, which is always sponsored by Daddle's Coffee, is going to be in real time because of the way that it works when you play by yourself in Superstar KO. Halftime hot takes Daddle's Coffee, which is a hand roasting coffee company out of Winter Park, Florida. They make small batches of coffee for a delicious cup of coffee to keep you warm through the winter. They actually out there, the product is so delicious. I drink a little bit every day. They have a promo code for you. If you use promo code FSS, you get a handle of their great products, which allows you to have a great cup of coffee and also give some donations to help support the King Charles Spaniel. Their proceeds help work and take care of a dog that suffers from heart disease and hip dysplasia. Go to daddlesonline.com to get you some Daddles coffee. With that in our Daddles coffee, I want to talk about our halftime hot takes. Our halftime hot takes for the evening is it better to have bowl games with 2 teams that are local or 2 teams that are higher ranked? Touchdown Clemson. Uh, and that, in my halftime hot takes for the evening, is it is better to do like the Duke's Mayo's Bowl and have two teams that are local. Now with the college football playoff, there are basically two big games that matter. Ooh, it's a booth review, and it's upheld. That was a really fast review. Now there are two basically games that matter. The rest of the bowl games are for fun and for exhibition to get us good games to watch. I think now it is better to regionalize bowl games and have them be about two games that are in a sort of same area. Yes, Pitt, Michigan State, Oregon, Oklahoma, those are what I like to call video game matchups and are going to be super fun to watch, but the fan experience is a little different. It costs a little chunk of change, and nowadays, where we are still very much having to be cautious of how we live in the world of COVID-19 and its variants, I think it'd be better to pull people together and say, if we're going to go to an event, let's at least keep people that are in a kind of the same region. Now you can say, well, Rutledge, you just contradicted yourself because should we be having stadiums with people? I believe we should. I believe the entertainment that is sports helps keeps the world feeling safe mentally. It's good for our mental health. But I think it is better to bring us together in areas where we are all together close to each other. That being said, bowl games, of course, always started with the idea of playing in a warm area like Florida, which is why the New Year's Day ones are always in Florida because of warm weather, get out of the snow, and have some college football late in the winter. That was a lucky, lucky pass. So that's my halftime hot takes. Now that we have so many bowl games, make them be all closer together. Let the people enjoy their times closer together. And if you say, well, Rutledge is too cold out, get the NFL to build more indoor stadiums. They're fun to be in. All right. Percy Harvin with another catch. Back-to-back catches. Gators are driving. Steven chimes in, they have to be similar schools. Having a ranked team against a 6 and 6 would not be fun in a bowl game. I agree. It's got to be, they should be together. I'm not saying that you put together, two teams that are close to each other and one's good and one's bad. But you got to make it fun and competitive. Oh no, Tim Tebow takes a very characteristic trying to do too much sack way back there in the backfield to put us at 2nd and 23. So let's continue on with the picks. So now we're on to New Year's Eve at the Tax Slayer Gator Bowl, which this game changed in teams because Texas A&M pulled out due to COVID infections amongst their team. So now this game, proving my point, it is Wake. Did I catch that? Nope. It is Wake Forest versus Rutgers all the way down from New Jersey all the way to Florida for this bowl game. Rutgers did not have the best record, but they needed an opponent. I believe Wake Forest is a 15-point favorite. So Wake versus Rutgers in the TaxSlayer.com Gator Bowl. I was really looking forward to Texas A&M versus Wake Forest, but we can't help what happened. So I am going to, of course, take Wake Forest, another team that had a fantastic bowl season and a fantastic regular season. No, that bounced out of the hands. It's always better to swat than to bounce. Another interception as we try to force some passes. Clemson gets the ball back. I always struggle in the third quarter. But here we go. Let's see if we can recover. This is turning into a game here, as it is 20-14. Florida versus Clemson. Gators got to bring some pressure. We've got to get some picks again. He just throws it to DeAndre Hopkins a lot. Just intercept that. So, Wake Forest versus Rutgers. Wake, easy cake money. They're going to bring home that TaxSlayer Gator Bowl trophy and have themselves a really good time. Next bowl game we have is the Tony the Tiger Sun Bowl. What a name. The Tony the Tiger Sun Bowl. This is going to feature Washington State versus Miami. Timeout in the third quarter. In the Tony the Tiger Sun Bowl, Washington State versus Miami. Miami is a 2.5-point favorite. I'm going to take Miami. Washington State, of course, has had their victory of the season as they beat Washington. Had a great rivalry week. But 2.5 points against Miami. I'm still going to take Miami to go and to travel well up to the Tony the Tiger Sun Bowl. Miami, even though they're they're making a coaching change, they're great. You know, they're fantastic. Uh, I wonder at the Sun Bowl if you get, like, everyone gets a swag bag. Does everyone get Frosted Flakes? You know, since it's Tony the Tiger, does everyone get Frosted Flakes? I would love some Frosted Flakes if I was there. That would have to be, you know, I want all the Tony the Tiger swag. Give me the Frosted Flakes, give me the hoodie, the shirt. Um, I wish that a team that I liked was playing in this, like maybe Georgia Southern was traveling to the Tony the Tiger Sun Bowl and that we'd win. I would love to have the Tony the Tiger Sun Bowl championship shirt. Oh, DeAndre Hopkins gets loose. I was dominating, and it's always the third quarter becomes a drama for me. This person's gone X Games mode. I would love that swag bag. Okay. One bowl game, which is an interesting sponsor for it. Barstool Sports was going to sponsor the Arizona Bowl, which is supposed to be Central Michigan versus Boise State. That game has been canceled, as Boise State even pulled out of the game. So that will not happen. So we are going to tick through here in the third quarter and leave the fourth quarter is going to be our remaining games, which we will cover New Year's Day as well as a couple games after. And I know I've left some New Year's Eve games off because that is the college football playoff, which we'll shave for the end of the show. Thank you for those that have come out to watch the show, as we are doing Friend Stream Sports live here on Twitch. It is 3rd down and 7. I'm playing Gators versus Clemson on Madden 22. Clemson has the ball, and DeAndre Hopkins is wide open in one-on-one coverage, runs in a touchdown. Easy touchdown in the end zone. Oof. Oof. This hurts. All right. Tim Tebow and company got to hit the field. We got to turn this back around. So, fourth quarter, I am now losing, which is upsetting. But we're going to get to New Year's Day games. I want to start with a little something on New Year's Day, an opinion. I'm standing on a little bit of a soapbox. I love the college football playoff. I love that the season means something. I love that the top 4 rankings are very important. I love that every Tuesday at 7:30 people are tuned in front of their TVs, diehard sports fans saying, what's going to happen next? Who's in the top 4? I love sitting around with people on Saturday watching that one upset win when number 3 loses and thinking, how far are they going to fall? Nope, that's a pick and 6. I just threw an interception. I'm very upset. I love everything that comes together for the college football playoff. I think it is the right direction of football. I think that 4 teams is small. But I love the college football playoff. I no longer love New Year's Day bowl games. Before the college football playoff, when the BCS champion would be set, and it would be set at the end of the season, and we would have it after New Year's Day, that meant something to say, okay, we're going to sit down for bowl season. You know, you have, let's say, Alabama versus Texas slated for the end of it. But from now until then, here's a whole slate of football games for you to watch. Enjoy. This is going to be incredible. Kind of upset me in the way that the college football playoff, and it's done it again, and I think this is wrong, has put the 2 biggest games of the season on New Year's Eve. So now, as a college football person, you're going to be at a New Year's Eve event with these games in the background, and you're going to be sitting watching these games in the background, or you're not going to really go after your New Year's Eve because you're going to be locked in, or your New Year's Eve is spent watching college football, which is not a bad thing, but you're going to have to choose. And New Year's Eve is kind of the night where we all go out and we want to have a good time, whether you're with friends, celebrating the end of the year, you know, whether you're with family, whatever you're doing, you want it to be like, okay, tonight is a night where I just go somewhere where I'm loved and appreciated and have a good time. Well, now you have to pick, is that around my football friends or is that around anywhere else? Because everyone kind of commits to New Year's Eve, tonight's the night. Did we get that? Oh, we got 4th and inches. I'm on the 30. We got a punt. So, you know, that being said, New Year's Day bowl games are just not as cool as they used to be. Great special teams field position, though. So I'm going to pick these New Year's Day bowl games, but I just feel like they're not as magical as they were. The first New Year's Day bowl game I want to talk about after going on that whole rant is the Outback Bowl. The Outback Bowl this year is going to be played of Penn State versus Arkansas. Arkansas, this defensive formation was horrible. Arkansas was, at one point, a little bit of an SEC challenge, but kind of fizzled into a finish, and I think Penn State's going to beat them. I think James Franklin and company have really kind of got a lot figured out, and I think they'll take it to Arkansas, and this is Penn State going to sort of start to make a march into next season. PlayStation is sponsoring the Fiesta Bowl this year, and the Fiesta Bowl this year will feature the Oklahoma State versus Notre Dame. Notre Dame almost knocked on the door of the college football playoff again. I believe undeserving, even as they lost to Cincinnati, who we'll get to later. But with them put together, I'm going to go Oklahoma State. There you go, getting the ball back at the right time, Rutledge. That's how it's done. I'm going to go Oklahoma State, as I believe Oklahoma State is just, they're always just one instance away from making it happen. They just can't seem to make it happen. So I'm taking it to make it happen for them. Bring home a Fiesta Bowl trophy. Living in a very interesting Pac-12, which could be a lot more open now that a Big 12. Now that Lincoln Riley is off for the Pac-12, could be a very more interesting world. We are at the 2-minute mark here. Gators have the ball. We are down by 8, and we have a great pitch run here, which is going to get us some fantastic field position with a $151. Okay. Moving on next, the VRBO Citrus Bowl, which has Iowa versus Kentucky. Wild that Iowa and Kentucky is this. Iowa, of course, is no slouch out. Good for Kentucky to be making the Citrus Bowl. And I'm actually going to go with Kentucky. They are a 3-point favorite against Iowa. Huge opportunity for them to make a big name for themselves. Steven goes Iowa. He goes Oklahoma State. But I think this is massive. Now we're going to get into a little bit of where your heartstrings pull. This is the granddaddy of them all. This is the Rose Bowl. We get to watch Utah, Ohio State. But as I said earlier in my rant, because of the college football playoff, no, big sack by Clemson. Tebow in the backfield. Huge sack, minute 22. We have to take a timeout. Take a timeout, figure out your play. The Rose Bowl, Utah, Ohio State. This is a game that has the magnitude, of course, being a great game for the season. Utah had that great game against Oregon with a massive defensive stand-up. Ohio State, of course, lost to Michigan this year, but is always a consistent program to watch, especially most recently in Ryan Day's doing a good job. This makes for a great classic Rose Bowl, but I believe it has been diminished as the Rose Bowl just doesn't mean as much. I think there should always be a playoff game at the Rose Bowl, but that's because I love the history that is the Rose Bowl and how it is the stadium of them all. It is on my bucket list of places that I want to go. No, Tebow drops the ball in a fumble. Do we stop the clock? How did Clemson recover that? Can I challenge that? Unless that was just 4th down and I was not paying attention. Well, Gators lost the ball. 48 seconds to go. We're going to take an 8-point loss here, kids. Don't know how that happened. Steven, was it 4th down? Man. We're going to call a timeout because I want to talk. So the Rose Bowl, Utah, Ohio State. Lock in for that. I'm going to take an Ohio State with 6.5-point favorite. 2 other games to go before we go college football playoff. All-State Sugar Bowl, Baylor, Ole Miss, 1-point favorite for Baylor. I'm actually going to go Ole Miss. I think the Lane train is going in motion. Lane Kiffin is a great fit for Ole Miss. He's making stuff happen over there. And then the TaxAct Texas Bowl is our last bowl game, which is the 4th of January. The 4th of January, you're going to have LSU versus Kansas State. Kansas State is a 1-point favorite. I'm taking Kansas State. Kansas State. LSU is going to go through a big culture change with Brian Kelly coming in, going to implement a different feel for the Tigers. All right, can we run this back? Do we have the hole? No, but we have 17 seconds. Huge pick off a big time right here. I'm going to go with Kansas State. I don't think LSU has it. You know, it'll feel great for the Kansas State fan base to beat LSU, but this LSU team is kind of broken. That safety is reading me. No. Massive sack. My guy drops his block. All right. We need something big here. What does Madden say? Hail Mary play. We're doing it. We're going the goalpost formation. Clemson's in man coverage. And the user's controlling the safety. He's just sitting back in the cover 1 spot. Go! That was about to be one of the ball just bobbled a bunch. That thought about to be one of those mad moments where it was like, hey, look at this. Okay. All right. Steven, you dropped a good comment, but I got to get this pass off. Oh. We come down with it, but the clock runs out. Florida drives, and they lose it in the last second. Clemson wins the national championship. That hurts. Steven's comment, he says, it feels like the Texas Bowl should be the 2 teams from Texas championship game. I agree. That would actually, what if it was like Texas versus Texas A&M again? Or if you had Texas Tech take on Texas because they both had the better records. It'll be great once the SEC splits up the Big 12 even more. But the Texas Bowl is not. It's LSU versus Kansas State, which that's kind of a decent region. Those people will travel, but it's still kind of far. So that's been my sort of gains and my pick-throughs. Now I want to go over, as we have, and talk about the college football playoff. In regards to Georgia versus Michigan, I am taking Georgia with a question mark. Georgia has a great defense that can stand up, but Michigan is in the same caliber, I think, almost as an Alabama. I think if you can't tell me to pick against Georgia when, according to ESPN's Power Index, the matchup predictor, 67% for the Football Power Index, are saying Georgia versus instead of Michigan. I think Georgia will try to reassert themselves as being very dominant. I think Michigan will once again come out and look flat, just like Jim Harbaugh's teams have done. You know, their offenses are putting on very similar points per game, but what's going to really impact is Georgia's rushing yards. They allowed basically less than 100 rushing yards a game. That's a really big defensive stat. Michigan, I think, can combat that, and I think they have the athletes to do it, but I'm taking Georgia. Steven says dogs fall apart. In Cincinnati versus Alabama, Luke Fickell is very ready to bring on Alabama. This is the program you want to play against when you're a small school like Cincinnati. However, when even ESPN has 71% chance of Alabama to win, that's a tough out. Cincinnati has to keep it close. It needs to be like a 24-21 game. It needs to be Cincinnati's leading the first 3 quarters and Alabama just outmans them. I'm taking Alabama, which means my championship game is Georgia versus Alabama. However, I want to see Cincinnati keep it close because if they get the doors taken off of them, they will hurt the chance of any Group of 5 team ever making the college football playoff until it expands to like 8 teams. Cincinnati worked so hard. They had not the best schedule. They had not the toughest schedule, and they've got to do well. If they don't do well, it'll really hurt them. So That's everything that I have for going into college football. If I could pick a champion, I'm not going to. We will have another show, as we always do, have another show to get out there and talk about it. Uh, Steven's thinking that Alabama beats Michigan in the championship game for another Nick Saban natty. That's big to have Michigan and Alabama in the championship game. That could happen. Georgia, I say, is Georgia with a question mark. But for now, that's everything from me. I'm Rutledge with FriendStream Sports. Thank you for coming out. Make sure to go to dowdlesonline.com, get you some coffee, promo code FSS, uh, and stay out there, get you some college football, wash your hands, and have a great night.